Hello, welcome, my friends. This is Speaking with Judgment, hosted by Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge. Great to have you. Thanks for supporting what I do. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok. We got to get to the big news about the Lakers. It was a big week for the Los Angeles Lakers. Marcus Smart gets a 2-year, $11 million deal to come play for the Lakers. I look at this as an A-grade roster move for the Lakers. Here is what the Lakers are getting. They're getting a former Celtic. They're getting a floor general, a veteran floor general. They're getting a very good defensive player. So yeah, this Lakers team desperately needed Smart. He makes them a better defensive team. He makes them a better three-point shooting team. Such a great pickup for the franchise with LeBron James another year older and Luka Doncic defensive struggles. A player who specializes in defense is exactly what they needed. And what Marcus Smart can give you offensively is a plus. You're going to have a guy who is committed on that side of the ball, and that's, of course, going to help the Lakers a great deal considering how bad this team was defensively. You want a guy on your team who can lock down the perimeter a lot more, and that's what Smart gives you. That's what he can bring to the table because that was obviously the one weakness that exposed them last season. This team had multiple defensive liabilities. I think that was their downfall. You saw that in the first round of their playoff series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. No answer for them. They were more physical, more athletic, faster. Their threes were going in, and there wasn't anything anybody can do to stop the bleeding, to stop the Wolves from going on runs. They outshot the Lakers mainly because nobody could defend the three and stop a very good three-point shooting team. Defensively, the Lakers were burned by Minnesota pulling up from anywhere, making wide open threes from all over the floor, knocking down in game one of that series 50% of those looks. They made 21 out of 42 attempts from three-point range in that game one. Every time you watched a Lakers game, you would painfully sit there and watch the opposing team bury three-pointers and go on a run. The Lakers would then be forced to use a timeout to stop the bleeding, especially if it was one of those nights that they were missing shots and free throws. And let me tell you, they had many of those nights. Well, now you may have solved that problem by adding Marcus Smart. Most specifically, he is going to do the little things we've been asking our defenders to do to win games. So I like this for the Lakers, this move in particular. On the idea of the move is substantially proportional to the contribution of the team. The last few years for this team, particularly on defense, has been an exponential downfall. They are better because of Marcus Smart. I mean, we can talk about him not being that great of a shot maker and more of a streaky scorer who can catch fire and knock down threes in abundance. Like right now, if you're looking at it, sure, if he can score, that's awesome. I don't necessarily think you need him to be that effective on the offensive side of the ball. That's why you have Luka and, yes, LeBron. Ayton can be really good on offense, but whenever you get a guy who can guard along the perimeter, when you add a former defensive player of the year and someone who brings toughness, it's mutually beneficial. This is a win for the Lakers. And finally, after a quiet summer, they made a move, one that will benefit them going forward. So I totally love what the Lakers did here. I absolutely love the Marcus Smart pickup. I would be curious to see how it goes next season, and it's undoubtedly true that we've gotten tougher on that side of the ball because of Marcus Smart. It's a total shift in leadership, culture and mindset. It's given me a shift in a total perspective in the way I view this team. I'm not saying they're in position to contend next season, but this does all of a sudden make them interesting. There is no doubt about it that the Lakers, who were weak yesterday, are stronger today after adding just one player who brings the entire package: defense, screening, leadership, playmaking, rebounding, confidence in winning. That's really everything this team needs right now. I was sick of seeing the Lakers get worked on the perimeter. It was like target practice. There was something about our defense that needed to be answered. Think about what opposing teams were doing to the Lakers on given nights from beyond the arc. I'll tell you this, the Marcus Smart signing moves me. You know, I'm telling you, Smart is absolutely someone who can replace Dorian Finney-Smith in closing lineups and gives you some needed versatility. And that's a matter of fact. Now, that doesn't mean he can solve all your problems. But defensively, having him certainly helps. And I think there's some questions how this is going to shake out. We're not going to know, but based on what we know, opposing guards hate to see him. We're going to know more next season, okay? Not everybody's going to like the move. You can't please everybody. Sit back, take a deep breath, don't doubt the move. Let's see where this goes, because he's the vet we needed on this roster. He has the tools you want in a lockdown defender. You remember his defensive presence and leadership propelled him to become the first guard since Gary Payton in 1995-96 to win Defensive Player of the Year. So this is very, very good for the Lakers, and they finally make a big move. And you know, after 2 seasons derailed by injury, he is eyeing a bounce back with the Lakers, looking to go through a renaissance. Could we see some kind of revival of Marcus Smart? He talked about working on his body. I heard his interview. It was one of the most honest, humbling, wholesome intros I've ever watched. Solid answers, and listening to that seemed genuine. He said all the right things. He's happy to be a Laker. And having a guy like this who brings a dog mentality can bring a dog out in the other guys on this team. A former Defensive Player of the Year and a former number 1 pick who is a double machine. I really like the addition. This helps the Lakers reposition to the team that can now focus on defense and not just offense. This does, in fact, lead to a more balanced team where maybe the Lakers become a more physical unit with Marcus Smart on the floor. We'll see. We'll have to see. It'll be, I think, hopefully not a passive group, but over the next year or so, a more aggressive group on the other end of the floor where defense is greatly required in the Western Conference particularly. There is a sense out there that's like, hey, we kind of feel like maybe he wanted to be a Laker. It's going to sound like I'm being biased or a homer, and I know many people listening and watching this, because I know they would ask that question, why would you say that? And it seems for some like, okay, maybe he wanted to wear the purple and gold and not the Boston green. It certainly sounded that way listening to him speak to the media during his intro. I can't get inside the man's head and read his mind, but you may remember Marcus Smart did work out with the Lakers back when he was being drafted. The Lakers had a chance to potentially get him. He winds up going 1 pick before, but ends up playing with the Celtics, who drafted him with the 6th pick in the draft, the Lakers took Julius Randle with the 7th pick, and now years later, Marcus Smart winds up playing for the Celtics and the Lakers. Funny how that works. Any Lakers fan out there who knows the kind of player he is and know what he was defensively during his time spent in Boston and not think to themselves, man, if he can come here and be that same exact guy or close to it, how could you not see this team being locked in defensively? When you have a guy in your lineup like that, I'm not guaranteeing a championship, but that certainly helps you evolve into one of the better defenses in the NBA. For me, I like the competitive fire he brings to the table. He's got a resume, vocal leader, high energy, someone that will communicate and hold people accountable. He plays his role well. What makes me happy is knowing that they finally got someone who can play defense. They actually deserve such a big applause for the Marcus Smart signing, I will say. I'm so hyped up about this. Welcome to LA, Marcus Smart. All right, everybody. That wraps it up for me. I'm getting on out of here now. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening and jumping on in here. Really appreciate the love and support. I'm getting out of here now. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Have a wonderful Thursday. We'll talk again very soon. This is your boy, the Sports Judge, and I'm checking out.